Hey guys, welcome to TST Garage. I'm Bart, and in this video, I'm going to be walking you through the installation of an LED flasher relay on your bike. Anytime you replace your OEM signal equipment with aftermarket LED type signals, there may be a symptom present where you go into hyperflash, which is flashing much faster than the OEM 85 cycle per minute rate, slower flash, which presents itself as very, very slow flash rate, or any of the following two, stuck on or stuck off. What you see in front of me are 4 different examples of our LED flasher relay. They are a direct replacement for the OEM equipment. They have the same kind of tab that you use for mounting the actual device onto the bike. We do have several different types of sockets that are adaptable to different motorcycles. In this video, we'll show you the appropriate part for your motorcycle so that you can make your installation plug and play and without any fuss. So we've already covered why you would want to mount one of these relays onto your bike. Let's get into a few details here really quick before we get into the installation. These are plug and play. They also work with a combination of different types of signaling equipment. So for instance, if you changed one signal pair to LED and still keeping the OEM incandescent light bulbs in the other positions, that'll work. No big deal. Just don't exceed 3 amps of current draw. In addition to plug and play ability and easy installation, we do also have adjustability built into this relay. If you strip off the gray cap, you'll be able to adjust the flash rate, fine tune it to your liking, faster or slower. It does arrive to you preset to 85 cycles per minute like the OEM systems. If you feel the need to change that, you have that capability just by following those steps. At the end of this video, we will have a detailed explanation showcased on a bike so that you can follow along and have the steps broken down for you. Now I'm chomping at the bit to show you guys just how easy it is to install and configure this on a bike. But before we do, I wanted to answer 2 questions that are very common that our customer service folks have asked me to answer in this video. One of them is, how many relays do I need for one motorcycle? It's just one relay that controls front and rear, left and right. No big deal. The other question is, does this work with sequential signaling equipment? Yes, it does. No problem. In fact, signaling equipment that uses a sequential pattern typically doesn't complete the sequence from inboard to outboard. If the flash rate is too fast, using one of these relays will enable your equipment to complete each blink sequence and be good to go. All right, let's grab ourselves a motorcycle and let's continue with this install. In step 1, we will be removing the seats. The rear one comes off with the key, and driver's seat will require a 5mm Allen key. One single screw in the rear section here loosens it up and removes it this way. Move forward to the tank area. We'll be removing this panel. There are 2 push fasteners up front here. Press in the centers to unlock them, then move the whole panel forward and it comes out like this. I'll show you guys how these fasteners work. In their locked position, the center button is flush with the body of the fastener. When you press the center in, that now unlocks this and it's able to be withdrawn. Going back to my 5mm Allen, I'll remove this fastener here. This position gets a 5mm tool head and silver screw, no shoulder. This fastener up here has to come out. This is a black fastener, 5mm head. It does have a shoulder. And this last one here, also 5mm head, silver, and no shoulder. I'm gonna switch to a 4mm tool. We're gonna remove this fastener here, which is silver, 4mm head, and it does have a shoulder. One additional fastener here, right at this split, at this vertex of all of these lines here, right behind, there's a push fastener that looks and functions the same as the ones by the tank area. We push in the center and that will unlock it. and then manipulate the plastic so that we can actually withdraw that fastener. Out it comes. So we still have one more fastener using the same tool. It is down here. This one is a blackhead 4mm tool fastener, and it does have a shoulder. Now all the fasteners are out. This fairing is technically loose now. We just need to pull it in the direction of the axis of this screw. There are some mushroom head fasteners behind it. Okay, that dislodges them. And now I'll pry back on this lower section. When you rotate this plastic this way, it dislodges and disengages the clips along this line, and now we'll be able to pull back on it and get it out of the way here. This tab here interfaces with this black plastic fairing piece. It does have a lip down there, so this needs to be withdrawn from that interference. Now I'm going to work on this side of the bike. The steps are exactly the same, so we're going to skip the filming portion. At this point, it'll be necessary to pull out this 10mm head screw using a 10mm socket. And this makes our tank loose here in the front. It is hinged in the rear. We'll be able to lift it up and prop it up with something. I like to use a T-handle Allen tool. It's really nice because this T-handle fits right into the tank bracket and the bottom fits in the screw hole. And now I have a nice self-captive assembly here. Under the tank, we are going to find the relay right here. Push up to clear the rubber mount from the tab that it sits on here. Now we're going to slip off the protective boot to expose the connector. The lock for the connector is on this side here. We'll press the lock and withdraw the relay from the connector. Now we'll have to scavenge the rubber keeper. And we'll grab our new relay, pass the tab through the rubber keeper. Now we are ready for reinstallation. Have to align the locking features here. So we have the receiving window for the tab lock. They go together, they snap together. We will get this boot up onto the plug area. If you're inclined to try to stretch this over the body of the relay, you can. I don't think that's entirely necessary. All right. Now this is mounted and it's ready to go. Let's power up the bike and test our function. Power on the right signal here. Okay, this passes the test. We do have proper flash rate. We're ready to go. Ready to go for reassembly in the reverse order of disassembly. If you are inclined to change the flash rate on your system, please watch the last section of this video for proper instructions on how to do that. All right, this job's complete. Okay, our process here will be portrayed in a model agnostic way. This will be applicable to any model out there. We just chose this motorcycle because we had it handy. I typically like to start with my relay still plugged in, I rotate it to find this area here, pry it up with a small flathead screwdriver, and basically pry out the red portion from the gray cap. Some of our other relays have a different color connector portion, so they won't be red. When you leave this still plugged into its connector, the gray cap will typically come off and the circuit board will still be in there. If for some reason you cannot do this with the relay plugged in, the procedure will be as follows. Same step here, dislodge the cap. This will come off, and if it has 2 pins, there's only one way for it to fit in there. We'll take the circuit board out. Technically, you can put it in reverse, but you'll notice that it sticks out of the side here and is not aligned properly. So I will hold it like this. I will plug it back into the connector. We will need to make the adjustment under power. Turn the power on, leave the signal that you can actually still see in flashing mode. We'll take a small Phillips screwdriver, access this potentiometer, and turning it one way will increase the speed. There is a delay in the speed effect, so as soon as you turn it, if you were to turn it really fast, it'll take a while for it to catch up to the speed that you actually set. So give it a little bit of time before you judge it. All the way counterclockwise is fast, all the way clockwise is slow. You will generally find something in between that will please you. And once you've made that adjustment, you could close the cap. Now, here's a very important note that I want to underline. As you can see, I'm holding this relay away from contact with anything. Generally, when working within a bike, we can potentially make contact between these electrical components with a ground, with any other metal components. We could short some of the connections there, and that will likely cause damage to the electronic components on board. So we want to make sure that we keep this as far away as we can from any metal components, and also do not touch any of the contacts here on board with a metal tool. So be very, very careful about that. Now, the reinstallation of the cap is as follows. We'll look inside. We'll notice that there is a channel here and here, and that is what accepts the circuit board. So you find that channel, you match the circuit board to it, snap it on, make sure both sides engage, and then hang the relay in its appropriate place.